Welcome back into that Sean podcast. This is kind of the smooth jazz version of Sean podcast. Actually, I don't want it to be smooth jazz. I like blues better than jazz. I don't know about you, but I do.
Hey, I've been watching some Reacher. I'm kind of liking the blues.
Yeah, there you go. I be the Big Ush. Here be the Cat Daddy. Even though we both watch Reacher, don't worry. We're not here to hurt nobody. Cat Daddy.
No spoilers either. We just got to see really the most football action that we're going to see until some of the preseason. We got to see the combine action. We got to see guys running around the field doing drills, nobody wanting to participate in the bench press.
Nobody at all.
It was definitely an interesting combine, which shows the NFL that changes need to be made to make this event more effective. And
speaking of, real quick, before we jump into things, who won our little fun situation? I mean, we had some that were abstained because some of our players either didn't participate or they didn't participate in certain drills.
Yeah, let me pull up the score.
I made a comeback there at the end with the DBs.
You did. It's the DBs. It was close when we got to the DBs. Let me see what the final tally was for our combine predictions. Now, it would have been more interesting if people would have done the bench press, because we had a lot of draws in the bench press. Just because
I think what? Oh, there's only one bench press, and I think I won it.
Well, there were three of the matchups. I won the running back with Damian Pierce. You won tight end with Jeremy Ruckert. I won DBs with Jalen Petrie. But the only one that was really a fair was the tight ends, where we both had a person going.
Right.
But looking at this, so we got 3, 6, 9, 10, 12. I had 14 correct. You had 5, or you had 9, it looks like. Yeah. 14-9. 9. So the winner has 2 thumbs and a Green Bay Packer hat. This guy.
Well, he's wearing a blue shirt, people, just so you know.
I am. Gotta rep school out here. Fruta.
All right.
Fruta.
But jumping into this, the combine is one of those interesting things where, players come for evaluation. I personally think that's just, window dressing for the rest of us in the analytics community. I think that the medicals and the interviews are probably the most important part of the combine for the players themselves. But yeah, if a player can come out, check mark a box, and you move on.
It feels better when you're high on a guy, and you have him ranked high, and he comes out and he's able to check those boxes for agility. He's able to check the boxes for speed.
Well, it's like Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. Both of them checked that speed box, and people were wondering about Garrett Wilson's speed. Check mark.
Chris Olave was robbed, though. Robbed.
Yes, he was. Now, getting to it, I'm going to get to some of these guys that I think helped themselves, and some guys that may not have helped themselves. So, starting with the quarterbacks, we're going to try to, get through this. A guy I think really helped himself, Malik Willis. He showed off the arm. He showed off that he can make throws, and he showed off, yes, he can miss one, but then he'll come back and he'll make it. What are your thoughts on Malik Willis here?
I think the Malik Willis hype train is continuing to chug along, and for good reason. He's showing the athletic skills. He's had the opportunity to show off the arm. His stock is trending up.
If there's anybody that these things actually matter to, these drills, it's probably a quarterback.
Going through the motions, it's important. Teams want to see this. Teams want to see that deep ball. Teams want to see the accuracy in that deep ball, even though that's with receivers that they're normally not comfortable with. They don't have the timing down. They still want to see it.
Get Kurt Warner sitting there talking, oh, he needs to get a little more air underneath that. I disagree. If you overthrow a player, good. Good. That means you can rip it because you don't have the timing down. Knowing how much air you need to get underneath there to make sure that guy can get to it, you're not going to know that. So rip it, put it out there, and if he can't catch up to it, he can't catch up to it. You tell me, do you agree with that, or is it Kurt Warner's thing where it's like, you need to know how to do this?
Yeah, I'm in between, right? I don't fully agree with Kurt Warner because these are wide receivers they're working with for the first time. They probably don't even know their names. The timing's not there. They're not familiar with these wide receivers. So if you're out there and you're letting it rip and it goes over his head, it goes over his head.
It goes over his head.
Don't have to you had like 5 minutes to work on timing.
Deep ball.
Yeah.
The deep
I'm
not
ball,
talking about on like
short intermediate
slant plays or anything like that. Those
you gotta
those
hit
other
those
plays,
no matter what.
Right. Now, and
I
that's
agree
why
with you on that one. Not Kurt
that
Warner.
leads me to my next guy, Kenny Pickett. I thought that he actually kind of was hurt by the combine because I saw a lot of passes that were underthrown. He did not rip it. The receivers were way ahead of a lot of his passes, at least down the field.
Do you know why he didn't rip it?
Why is that?
Because his tiny hands wouldn't allow him to.
Now, one of your guys, a guy I know you liked, who had it was inconsistent. I don't think it's hard to say. This one's very difficult. And that's Carson Strong. You saw the arm talent. The arm talent is very available, very there. But there's other times, especially on the short intermediate, where I saw was going into the feet of these prospects, and you can't do that. Those are the ones you need to get on them. And it felt like his footwork was a mess.
I wonder if any of that has to do with recovery from the knee injury.
Possibly.
I wonder, because we know that Carson Strong has got a cannon. In case you forgot, like the combine reminded you, the guy's got a rocket launcher for an arm. His knee is continuing to improve, which is good. It still has the red flag of you had 2 knee surgeries, so what are teams going to think longevity-wise, and could some of those missteps and the bad feet have been caused by maybe the knee being a little bit sore? That's going to be a big question for him.
And someone else who helped themselves, Desmond Ritter.
Absolutely, yeah.
Desmond Ritter showed, but this is his setting. You're scripting something. It's when the pressure's on where I want to see him. You give him perfect conditions. This is what he'll do well. But also, from my understanding, he actually interviewed very well.
He got to put on display his athletic ability, which was good for teams to see, and I think that's why he was one of the bigger combine winners, especially for quarterback. He showed that he's one of the more athletic quarterbacks in this draft. That's not named Malik Willis. Mm-hmm. And he's a winner. Cincinnati.
Yeah. He won every quarterback? Was it drill? Let be the 4-yard dash, vert, broad.
I think he was up near the top for most of them. So those are traits that teams are going to like because they want an athletic quarterback. Most teams will want an athletic quarterback.
All right, and Sam Howell stayed stagnant. Good.
He did. He didn't participate with the athletic testing, but he was able to rip the deep balls. He had a couple of the short, out routes that didn't look good, which is those are like we're talking about before. Those are the ones you gotta hit.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Moving on from quarterback. Do we have is there any way?
Moving on from you don't want to talk about Matt Corral?
Matt Corral wasn't there.
I know. This is one of those times when he should have been there.
I agree.
I get the
You're the one who told me.
Senior Bowl. But man, Malik Willis is just gaining more hype, and he's not quite cementing himself as quarterback one for this draft, but he's definitely making a more solid case to be quarterback one. He's got a lot of momentum on his side, and Matt Corral not participating is going to start. Absolutely. But then when it is big, you're thinking, well, we got to take this with a grain of salt because this is all scripted by an agent.
Right.
So
now, but moving on to running back. Man, I know I shouldn't. I really do. I know I shouldn't. But I liked him originally for a reason. And Breece Hall's just climbing up my list again. I'm just reminded why I liked him. At that size, running that fast.
I know. He had the best 40 time for a running back. And, the 40 is the big events. Everybody has their eyes on the 40, the speed. But when you're thinking of a running back, how often is a running back going to be able to display that 40 speed like that?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Cat Daddy.
You're welcome into this segue.
So, in the last, let's say, 5 years or so, I think 10 years, but 5 years, there's been only one other running back that's been 210 plus that's ran that fast. Guess who it is?
Definitely wasn't Chris Johnson.
No.
Was it Zeke?
No.
Who we got?
Well, his first name's Jonathan. Last name Taylor.
Wisconsin.
What's that?
Jonathan Taylor, Wisconsin.
Yep. So, you asked when's a running back going to be running like that? That's Jonathan Taylor.
Okay. But if I'm a team drafting, I am not looking at her running back purely for the 40 speed.
But it's not just the 40 speed. Breece Hall also showed other athletic ability, and I know last year was not the greatest, but I mean, how much of that was teams just adjusting, saying, you know something, all Iowa State is Breece Hall, so we're just going to stop him. and because I mean, we saw the tape the year before. The tape had me as having them as my number one back, and I'm telling you the truth. Looking at your boy Spiller, looking at Kenneth Walker, who actually had a pretty good combine himself, I don't know why Breece Hall wouldn't still be my top back in this draft. That coupled with the athletic testing. That's what I'm saying. The tape, yeah, out of these guys for last year's tape, Kenneth Walker might have the best tape, but where's running backs, we gotta take that as a grain of salt, right? There's reasonings for this stuff. I mean, another guy who had a really good day, Zamir White. At his size, running the speed he did.
What was Zamir White's time?
Just give me a moment. I think it was like 4.45 or something.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Give me a moment. I know it's bad radio. but we're not radio. Just consulting the producer.
Yep. While you're looking at that, a person that didn't test well, and I was a little
4-4.
bit...
He had a 4-4 40-yard dash, and yeah, he's 214 pounds. That's disgusting.
It's pretty good.
But as you said, there's some guys that didn't test well. Was that?
Yeah, my guy was Kyron Williams from Notre Dame.
Sincere McCormick, atrocious. Who was the worst one?
For
40 yards for running back. Because, I mean, it matters. It does. I don't care what you say. The speed of a running back does matter.
Right. Speed matters.
It was Kyron Williams.
I'm not looking purely at that time. I'm thinking I'm going to draft a running back purely based on this time.
Let me rephrase. Size and speed matter. So a guy like Kyron Williams, who's smaller, who runs that slow, that's not good.
What's Kyron? Kyron's like, what, 5'9", 5'10"?
Kyron Williams. He is 5'9", 199.
He weighed in under for me. I thought he was going to be at or above 200. And then...
What did he weigh in at the combine? He weighed in at 194.
Yeah.
That's not good.
But these tests and these athletic tests show nothing about his ability to pass block, which is probably one of his better qualities.
Right, but at this point, you're just asking him to put on some extra weight maybe and moving him to fullback or H-back, making him... Who's got on the Niners?
Kyle Juszczyk.
Making him more of a Kyle Juszczyk than a running back. Which I think he could excel at that.
Maybe he could be like an Austin Eckler. A little bit smaller, may not be able to carry a full load. He has the ability to catch passes, which is where he might be more dangerous.
Austin Eckler's way faster than him.
Right, I wasn't comparing like exactly the same, but in a similar role where he can be there in passing downs. You can trust him for the passing downs, and that's where he's going to have more value.
But I mean, we got guys here like Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, Zamir White, James Cook, Tyler Goodson.
But if we're staying on
the box,
right? If we're staying on Kyron for one more second, remember that UNC game? If Kyron runs a 4.65 40, what were those UNC defenders running?
Very slow.
They weren't good. He was taking off down the field. He stiff-armed one, changed directions. I think he stiff-armed another one, got up the sideline.
But right there, by the time, I mean, that's the thing. He had to break a lot of tackles to get there. Let's be honest.
And he still had the speed to pull away from their defense. Because that's the one Kyron Williams play that stands out for me like this whole season was that one run.
But see, you're missing that. College speed is not the same as pro speed.
True.
A lot of those UNC defenders aren't making it to the pro game.
That's true. That's fair. But for some prospects, especially some of the wide receivers and defensive backs, their 40 time was a little bit slower, but their play time in the game on the tape.
Let's get to that.
Yeah. Now, segue.
Something
Boom.
A little different, and we'll get to the point of that. Wide receivers, ones that did well for themselves, ones that did again. Height, weight matters. Kyron Williams, you were talking about, smaller guys should have ran faster. To your point, yes, Garrett Wilson checked the box. Chris Olave checked the box. Christian Watson, good Lord, checked the box. George Pickens, rising up draft boards. Here are the guys that people are wondering about. David Bell. But as you remember, what was my comp for David Bell?
Oh. David Bell. I'm drawing a blank. Who was it?
Keenan Allen. What did Keenan Allen run at the combine?
What, 4.5 something? 4.6? 4.7?
He wishes 4.71.
Yeah,
Keenan Allen ran a 4.71.
I think Devontae Adams ran a 4.55. Cooper Kupp ran like a 4.61.
So, I mean, Des Bryant ran a 4.5. Speaking of Des Bryant, a guy I comped to Des in this draft is your boy, Treylon Burks, who ran a 4.55 at 6'2". What's his weight?
225, right?
225
might be a slow time to some people, but remember, this man is 6'2", 225.
Compare that to, I believe, Dez ran at 6'2", 225 around that age, around that weight, ran a 4.5. I mean, come on, people. What were you expecting? They were, you know what they were expecting? Deebo Samuel. You know how much weight Deebo Samuel weighed at the combine?
No, not off the top of my head, but I'd be curious about that 40 speed too. I'm gonna look.
Deebo Samuel ran, I believe, a 4.8, but I believe he's like 10 pounds lighter. Let's see, 214. He was 2.4. He's 5'11", 214, and he ran a 4.48. And it's just like, stop, just because they're the style of game that they played in college is similar. Stop comping these guys to each other when they're not. 5'11", 214 is not the same thing as 6'2", 225. It's not. 10 pounds makes a difference. That height makes a difference.
Yeah, and let's remember that the 40 time, none of these drills by themselves results in success. Because if we look at the fastest 40 in history, which is John Ross, 4.22, he's currently in the NFL, yes, but he's currently looking for and or fighting for a job. His speed hasn't done anything.
You couple this, like I said with Breece Hall. Remember? Another cameo. Like I said with Breece Hall. You couple it with tape. Breece Hall has good tape. So him being fast with good tape matters.
Right, and Cincinnati should look at John Ross at 4.22. Let's go back to the tape. Does that all make sense? Do we like those receiving skills, those hands, the route running? Do we like you enough to draft you at number 5?
He had two things. He was injury prone and inconsistent in college, what John Ross was. Should never have been taken where he was taken.
No. But somebody fell in love with his speed and they overrated his speed.
And you know who's going to hopefully doesn't get overrated? Good for him if he does. Calvin Austin III.
Man.
He tested out of his mind.
He was jumping out of the building. He had, an 11.3 broad jump, a 39-inch vertical. He was jumping out of the building. However, he only measured in at 5'8".
5'8", 160.
Man, that's like just a little bit shorter than me and a couple more pounds than me. Like, I could not see myself in the NFL at this size playing wide receiver. Like, I can see myself being a towel boy or somebody with a water bottle in their hands, but not a wide receiver.
If anybody's dumb enough to take him over, let's say a Garrett Wilson at 6 foot, 183, running a 4.39, or Chris Olave at 6'1", 188.
Man,
who's both of their tapes is incredible. Now, if you want to take a chance on upside, guys like Christian Watson at 6'5", 208. Good Lord.
Man, that
Lord, this
Watson
guy.
postseason terror continues. He showed out at the Senior Bowl, carries it over to the combine. He had, what was that, 4.3640, great broad jump over 11.
And he's 6'4", 208. Explain it.
My question is, he's been under the radar for so long at North Dakota State and how they utilize their offense. When is he going to get first-round buzz? The size, the agility, the ability.
Sky Moore.
First-round buzz.
Sky Moore out of Western Michigan. He's only 5'10", 195, but ran a 4.41. No one thought he was going to run that fast. Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati.
Man, he was jumping out the building too.
Danny Gray of SMU.
He was running out the building.
So, I mean, that's the thing. Look at these, like the Calvin Austin, cool. You ran a 4.32, you jumped, but I mean, a Christian Watson, that freaking specimen, that's disgusting.
It is. Speaking of disgusting, Sky Moore, his hands measured at 10 1/4.
Yeah.
All the quarterback has to do is just get the football within like 4 yards of him, and the hands will just get up by themselves. Like, those are some huge hands.
Someone else who made himself some money, Khalil Shakir, 6 foot, 196, ran a 4.43.
A wide receiver who I thought did good for themselves was Drake London.
Yes.
I'm trying to look up his 40 time, what he got. Why am I not finding it? I know he ran, whatever he ran was. Did he run?
Drake London, you sure he ran?
Thought he did.
No, I don't think Drake London ran.
Oh, no, because of his...
He's still injured.
Yeah.
You know who did do well, though? Who's climbing up draft boards, apparently, and I wish he wouldn't. My guy.
George Pickens.
I know. I like him. I think you might be getting on board now. George Pickens. 6'3", 195, ran a 4.47.
I like the run blocking ability. That's a bonus. That's a plus.
And now you see he's got height and the speed. Tell me honestly, you tell me Green Bay couldn't do something with that boy?
Green Bay likes their wide receivers to block, which I think is why they like Alan Lazard so much. I think he's a good blocker. Throw him out there. And, yeah.
But moving on.
And then I think for Drake London, I had him as my combine winner just because the recovery is going well. Some of the receivers are falling down the list. Like, people are down on Traylon Burks because he tested poorly. People are down on David Bell.
But the two Ohio State guys are going up.
They are.
All right, so moving on to tight ends. We have a East-West Shrine Bowl tight end moving up boards. Jelani Woods out of Virginia. Honestly, he's my only take from this. The tight ends did not do much for me. They didn't move the needle whatsoever.
I thought Daniel Bellinger from San Diego State turned in a good combine performance. He had good speed. I think it was like 4.63. He benched 22. I mean, he was probably one of the only people who was benching. So he got 22 up there. So anything in the 20s is a plus. He was pushing that sled around like it was nothing.
When you're ready, I'm going to talk about somebody you really want to talk about.
Let's see. I think Daniel Bellinger was probably one of the bigger winners for me at tight ends. Loser, I think, might have been Jake Ferguson from Wisconsin. That was a rough combine showing that he had.
I didn't expect much.
I think like 3 tight ends went to do the bench, and he had the worst showing of those who participated. Ran one of the slower 40 times. He just didn't put out a good performance athletically. Who do you got that I'm like?
Ready to talk about it?
What do we got?
So, offensive lineman, somebody who showed out and I think won himself a bunch of money because of the combine. Northern Iowa's own Trevor Penny.
Keep that name in the down low. Right. We want him to slide. We want him to fall.
There's no down low anymore.
Man,
the man is showing out.
Good for him.
Icky, instead of using his real name, Icky showed out also.
Charles Cross. They all tested well.
So Evan Neal, you better hope teams love you.
Man. He just showed up measured, right? He didn't participate in any drills.
And are we sure we're wrong? Are we sure? Because remember, when we did our last mock, we were wondering, like, are we crazy? When we had 4 tackles going like the top 7? Are we sure we're wrong about this?
With this performance in the postseason altogether, you're thinking Ikwanu's going top 10, Charles Cross is going top 10, Evan Neal should go top 10. I've seen Trevor Penny jump into the top 10 in some mocks. Not quite sure I agree with top 10, but he's definitely showing potential there.
Then on top of that, who were the guards that showed out?
I thought Zion Johnson continued his postseason tear too.
Yes, he did.
I think Zion Johnson has a chance to be the first guard off the board compared to Kenyon Green, who previously would have been a favorite.
Yeah, I don't understand why Kenyon Green didn't do anything. Or did he do stuff? Or was he just bad at the combine? I think he was just bad, wasn't it?
I'm not even sure he was bad. I think it was just But I heard his interviews go too well.
Ooh, that's
so that potentially can hurt him when it comes to the draft time. So some teams are down on him and making for him a second round prospect.
All right, upwards. Let's go to the defensive ends. So, all right, I want to see what this man's size is. Amir Barno.
Virginia Tech. Yeah.
6'5", 245. You have no business running that fast, bro.
Yeah. Go ahead and keep that name quiet, too, because I want that one to slip to the Packers at some point.
No. Let's keep Sam Williams quiet.
No, you can keep Sam Williams. Sam Williams got some off-field stuff, I think. I'll take Amir Barno.
Does he? Because 6'4", 261, ran a 4.46.
I mean, but that's the thing is that's why the interviews are so important for these teams and for these prospects is because that can make or break how it feels about you.
The man who probably made himself the most money from the entire combine, Trayvon Walker.
Oh man,
no one that big should be that fast and that athletic. No one that big should be able to do this. Am I wrong about that?
Runs a 4.51, then puts up a 6.89 3-cone
at 272.
Yeah, and then his short shuttle was 4.32. Like he showed speed, but he also showed that short area explosiveness.
35.5-inch vertical.
So he definitely made himself some money. He's justifying a little bit more of that top 10 mock that you see.
Boya Moe also had a day. David Njoku had a day, or David Ajabo had a day.
Aiden Hutchinson had a day. Thank you, sir.
Majay still tested well. Same thing with Jermaine Johnson tested well. Know who tested fairly well, but attitude is a problem, and he might fall down my board.
Already know.
Go ahead. Tell the people.
Kayvon Thibodeau. In interviews, he's telling teams, like, you know what? Who do I compare myself to? I'm like Jadeveon Clowney 2.0. And I'm like, man, that just doesn't sound good. That just doesn't sound like a good comparison coming out. And back in the fall, I remember he was like the number one prospect. Like we're thinking big board wise, he's number one.
The production's there.
each of us the potential's there, but the teams have concerns about his heart and his motor, and by skipping the agility drills because he was too tired or had too long of a day doesn't show very well.
Let's be honest here. It is too long of a day. And is he getting out the top 10?
No.
Is he getting out the top 10?
Not top 5. I think he's still going to be a top 5 pick at this point.
It's just, you worry.
You're going to have questions like, your GM is not going to sleep well at night until he shows it on the field that he has a heart and a motor.
You worry. Now, get to the boys of the night or the week or whatever. These defensive tackles.
Speaking of guys who should not be able to run that fast at that size.
These scary.
Whoever is in charge of that Georgia strength and conditioning program, his salary needs to be doubled.
So first of all, I gotta put this out here on the pod. I didn't go after him, but I will say this. I said in the last pod, I'm pretty sure Twitter has been created for smart people to validate that they're smart and stupid people to say stupid things to smart people. Because I was told, emphatically told, that Jordan Davis was not athletic. Now, I could be wrong, but I think we have proof that Jordan Davis is very athletic. Someone tried to tell me that Jordan Davis was going to be nothing but a two-down player. Well, actually, they were arguing with Matt Miller at the time. And I came out because they were trying to say Jordan Davis was only a two-down player. And I said people said the same thing about Vita Vea. And there's like, well, Jordan Davis is nowhere near the athlete Vita Vea is. He's kind of like this, or this. And I was like, well, you know something, and I brought up Dexter Lawrence. And he was like, well, Dexter Lawrence was a better athlete than Vita Vea. Jordan Davis is not going to be nowhere near that. No, they were right about Dexter Lawrence as an athlete. But Jordan Davis is a better athlete than both by a freaking mile. And I decided not to go at him. But I wish I did.
To give you an idea of the athleticism, Jordan Davis measures in at 6'6", 341 pounds, and this monster runs a 40.478. Right. You're knocking Traylon Burks, not you, but you as in people are knocking Traylon Burks for running a 4.55. This man's running like 0.2 of a second slower, and he weighs 341 pounds.
It's gross.
But it wasn't just the speed, it was also the explosiveness and the athleticism. His vertical was 32 inches, which for someone 341 pounds is really impressive. His broad jump was just over 10
good at
feet.
Position drills.
He's good. Now, earlier, I had the fear that Jordan Davis was going to be a two-down run stuffer just because of how Georgia was using him. But now, with this testing he's put out and how well he did at the combine, I think you're going to throw all those fears out the window.
Oh, the other stupid thing I saw online about Jordan Davis, because someone put out there about Jordan Davis's speed and what the athletic testing, and they were like, I thought he was only going to be a run stuffer. But someone with this athletic profile, you can teach the rest of the passion. And some idiot decided to chime in and say, either you got it or you don't. So defensive line coaches everywhere, you might as well get fired. Because either you can rush the passer or you can't. You're not supposed to be able to teach it. Why? Why do people go on and say stupid things like this?
They need hobbies. I don't know. They should listen to us more often.
Lord. All right. Let's move on to the linebackers, who are very fast themselves. You got Troy Anderson out of Montana State, one of those small school guys. Ran very well. Very, very well. Christian Harris. I'm not sure about him in coverage, but he's fast. Chan Tidell. Another raw player. No. Christian Harris, 4.44. Troy Anderson, 4.42. Chan Tidell, 4.47. Very raw player, but he's intriguing. Malcolm Rodriguez, 4.52. Brandon Smith, another intriguing guy, 4.52. Another Georgia guy, just like Chan Tyndale, 4.52. What in the world is Nakobe Dean gonna run?
Before, if we're in that 4.5 range, Wisconsin's Leo Chanel runs a 4.53 in the 40. So that shows he's fast. The guy measured at 6'2 and a half, I think, 250. Jumped 40 and a half inches. Had a broad jump of 10.8. Like, this guy measured well, tested well. The athleticism was there. Athleticism, something good for a linebacker. Did Nakobe Dean not run the 40? He opted out, right?
He opted out.
All right. Evan Lloyd, I was little...
Everybody was a little concerned until it was updated.
It started at 4.71, and people were like, even I was like, ooh, I kind of expected a little bit more. But then I'm like, okay, well, am I going to rely on the 40 or am I going to rely on the tape and the game speed? In that case, like, I'm leaning toward the tape and the game speed, which the 40 time happened to be corrected to what, 4.66?
Thank God, 4.66.
Yeah,
which is what you
it's
see
an
on tape.
improvement. Yeah, it's kind of what you're expecting. So apparently, the combine had a new person holding the stopwatch this year, and man, you could see there was such a big variance in the unofficial times versus the official. And the reason I feel Chris Olave is robbed, I know we're past wide receivers, is because he unofficially clocked in at 4.26.
Yeah,
that was his first run. He opted to skip his second run. I would too. I'm thinking, if I ran a 4.26 in that first one, I'm not going to top that. So he opted not to do it, only to much later, find out that his official time was 4.39. Nothing,
which is still fast.
Nothing bad, but you figure if he had a 4.39, do you think he would have tried a second time?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
all right. Speaking of somebody who's robbed, moving to the corners, who would have been robbed, Tyler Woolen. I remember his unofficial time was like 4.4 something, and then he ran a 4.26.
Yeah, he showed speed. He showed the explosiveness. I mean, he had a 42 for the vertical.
Right.
The testing went well. The concern with Tariq Woolen is going to be the experience, being a converted wide receiver and not having as many snaps as a cornerback.
He's still going to go later, but he's moving up.
He's got a lot of potential.
I got 3 guys that I think helped themselves quite a bit in their testing. One is more cemented.
Is that Sauce Gardner?
Sauce cemented at 4.41.
Man, I think he cemented himself as a top 10 pick. I think he's going top 10 now with that showing.
Your boy helped himself out. Kaiir Elam.
He needed to. This was so important to him, especially with who didn't test. Stingley didn't test, and there was another cornerback who didn't test.
Booth.
Yeah. Oh man, they missed the opportunity there.
And someone who I think helped himself insanely, Trent McDuffie. Everybody thinks he's slow. 4.44 is not slow.
No, it is not.
Now, someone that didn't help themselves as much. Roger McCreary, we thought he was a 4.5 guy, and he's a 4.5 guy. Kyler Gordon, everybody thought was going to be faster than 4.52.
I know. I was expecting Kyler Gordon to test really well. I was a little bit surprised, especially by the speed. Roger McCreary, he didn't test the greatest, and I think that's going to hurt him because teams already had the concern about his size and his arm length. Being able to defend taller, bigger wide receivers, they think he might just be a slot receiver now. So that testing was so important to him.
Another guy, Kobe Bryant, 4.54. He's pretty much pigeonholed himself as his own guy. And if people want to know, running the 40 in particular is important for a corner in particular because you need that catch-up speed.
You're going to get beat at some points. It's going to happen. You need to be able to catch up when you get beats. So Kaiir Elam seeing that 4.39, like we saw him play catch up on the field. We saw him track down receivers. We saw the speed on the field. We needed to see it in this environment. He showed it. Saul showed it. Trent McDuffie showed it.
All right. So the safeties, for the most part, most of these safeties are extremely fast. You got Nick Cross showing out from Maryland. You got Lewis Seen,
4.37.
Showing George is in the house.
I'm telling you, that strength and conditioning coach needs a praise.
Dak, now just going as Dax.
Dax Hill.
Dax Miller.
Hill. Yeah, he runs a 4.38.
4.38. You got Jaquan Brisker, 4.49. And then let's go to the one everybody's talking about. Kyle Hamilton, 4.59. I don't care.
Did I want to see faster? Of course.
Look how he plays.
But you need to remember two things. One, he's coming off a knee injury. And two, that 40 speed isn't as important for safeties as it is for cornerbacks.
And look how he plays.
And he tested well with the explosiveness. Now, the problem I had with his 40 is he looked a little wobbly when he was running his 40. A little swervy in the beginning as he was getting going. So I didn't know if that was an effect of his injury that was causing him to do that. And maybe that's the case, yeah. So I was more concerned about that than it was the actual time itself. I'm thinking, this guy just came off a knee injury. Give me a break.
All right. I'm going to go to another stupid thing said online. So I'm going to go back to Traylon Burks. So Lance Zierlein of the NFL Network posted a really good tweet, if you guys want to go out there and find it, talking about guys who are above 210 and ran above 4.5 or above, who have been productive in the league. And he went with Mike Evans, Dez Bryant, Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, and one guy had the most horrendous take, and I couldn't help it. Normally I try to leave these things alone, but I couldn't help it. So I had to comment. And I said, because, all right, so the guy's take was that, oh, these guys are either insanely tall or really good route runners. Burks is neither. I had to come out and was like, first of all, Dez was 6'2". Burks is 6'2". And then I mentioned your guy. I was like, Devontae Adams was not the route runner he is now coming out of college. He wasn't. You know he wasn't. And it's just like, and then like it turned into a thing because Zierlein answered that, and then someone else answered that, and it all turned into, oh, so you're saying that route running's not something to be taught. And it turned into a guy saying, coaches can see if somebody has feet. If they see you have feet, then they can teach you to run a route. But it was nonsense. That's a nonsense thing to say. That because he wasn't a good route runner in college, he can't learn to be a route runner in the pros.
That's on the college coaching staff. You can't put that always on the player.
But even with that, Devontae Adams is one of the clear-cut examples of somebody who wasn't a polished route runner coming out and turned into one of the best route runners in the league.
Sure has. Was Stephon Diggs that good of a route runner coming out of Maryland? I can't remember. That's just not an actual question.
As much as I don't like the guy, he turned into a really good route runner.
Yeah, wasn't he used as like a running back, like a pure offensive weapon with no actual position?
But you get what I'm saying. Like, you know, this is... These are things that people don't think you can teach. Pass rushing, route running. This is what you have an NFL coach for. Why do you have a position coach if they're not teaching the position? Things you can't teach. Speed, vertical, things of that nature. You can teach somebody to catch. You can teach somebody to run a route. You can teach somebody to rush the passer.
I know. If this is the mindset that you can't teach certain things, then Malik Willis shouldn't go in the first round if that's an argument.
This is nonsense. It's complete nonsense. Yes, we do all this. They do all this testing so you can get a projection of where they should go, what their athletic traits are. This is confirmation. Also, you want to get to see who's going to go out there and compete. This is why Kayvon Thibodeau coming out there and complaining about being tired is a red flag. Because he's not coming out there and competing like everybody else. He didn't prepare the best. And maybe that's what you want to put out there. Maybe Treylon Burks didn't take the whole process as seriously as he should have. And maybe that part needs to be addressed. Maybe he sat there and said, I'm not a track guy.
Or maybe it was a long day. He's not a track guy.
You know, maybe maybe he's a 4-5 guy who's just going to be awesome on Sunday because he can out-bully the other guy.
I know. And a reason I don't want to get overexcited about these 40 times, they're out there in shorts and the t-shirts, controlled environments. What I want to see the 40 getting run with helmet and pads. That's right. That's where I want to see it for.
This is all about confirmation. You know,
exactly.
You don't come off a player because he ran an okay 40. Now, no, if Treylon Burks came out there and ran a 4.7, I'd be a little worried. That's why we said with Devin Lloyd, we ran a 4.7. We were a little like, but then it turned into 4.66, and we're okay. This is a 4.55. I'm not worried. Let's cut the noise. But Jordan Davis coming out and running a 4.78, knowing what we know about him.
Was it a 4.78 or a 4.71?
4.78.
Yeah.
But him coming out running a 4.78, knowing what we know about him, gets us excited. Makes us think, okay, this guy can rush the passer. And yes, we're talking about the 40, but he also did good in the vert and the broad.
Yeah.
This is all we're saying, people. Calm down. You got anything else for the people?
No, I think that's all the players. I still think that the Combine is the underwear Olympics. They need some fixes to it.
It absolutely is.
I like the format of having positions go together, like doing all their drills in a shorter space rather than spreading across a whole week. So I enjoyed that part. They just need to split up the whole medical thing.
Agreed.
Keep bench separate from the rest of the agility drills because they're really maxing out on the bench. And that takes a lot out of them physically. So if they can make changes where they do the bench first on a different day or last on a different day and do all the speed agility drills separately, hey, you got yourself a formula. But that's all I got. And I detest pro days.
All right, that's all. That's all they wrote. That's all we wrote, folks. We'll see y'all next week when we bring the mocks back.